Stuart, do you have suggestion on how to quiet the racing mind and how to find a home within yourself? How do
Yes.
you feel home in your body?
Shisham, it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of discipline in yourself. It takes time to master the chaos inside yourself. But once you learn how to keep your, focus of attention in the chakra below the navel, the mind begins to get quiet. And that takes time. It takes training. It took me years to learn how to do that. And I don't expect people to come to a few classes and suddenly master that. It's not the way it works. I mean, my teacher said it better than anything I ever heard, Rudy. He said it takes 9 months to have a baby, it takes 1 second to die. And if you don't allow the child to mature inside you, can't rush it. You have to just stay with it, be conscious, work at it, and understand that it's taken you this amount of years in your life to get the mind this active. It's not going to go away in a couple of weeks. It's work. It's like, look, it's like getting a degree, you got to work to get it. And it takes time and you have to have patience and do the work. And this is the same thing. I mean, it's why I have all these classes and I've been doing this for, 40 years now. Because I know and understand that the only person that each and every one of us is up against is ourselves. But we need to learn how to do it. Understand? We need to learn how to master the chaos that's inside us. It takes time, it takes work. I understand the amount of time it takes. I am here for anybody who wants to do it. Because, it took me years to learn this and I have the patience. I mean, I don't know how much, look, I'm not a kid anymore. God knows, I don't know how many more years I have to do this, but as long as I'm alive, I'll be doing this, trying to help and mentor people to learn how to master themselves. On the other side of each and every one of us and all the chaos that's inside us is not only a spiritual life, it is just learning to be a happy person living in the world. And the shortcut is doing it. There's no shortcut, but doing it, working on yourself every day, growing inside. What does it take? You come to a meditation class, there's 4 of them a week, it's 4 hours a week. I once said there's 165 hours a week, and this is 4 hours of them. And sit down maybe every day for a half hour and do your inner work. It's not fanatical. But if you keep bringing your attention down, you keep training yourself, mastering yourself, and it's something very difficult to do on your own. I tried it before I met Rudy. It almost drove me crazy. But when I had somebody transmitting Shakti, transmitting energy, nurturing my system inside, connecting me with God, helping me to build that connection in myself, the path got clearer. And it's not that I'm looking for students. I'm not. I've had 20,000 students in my life. I don't need students. But I certainly will give 100% of my commitment to any single person that's willing to do it. And the amazing thing is, I've said many times, it doesn't interfere with the rest of our life. It just makes it richer, more conscious, more open, more grateful, full of love and joy and compassion and living on the highest level that we can live as human beings, because we have mastered the chaos in ourselves. All the chaos in the world is a reflection of the chaos in people. So that chaos is never going to go away, Because out of the 8 billion people, there's probably 100 people on this planet that really do inner work. So that chaos is never going to go away. But we can get above it. We can learn to master ourselves and begin to see the world differently. Not be intimidated by life, learning how to transform tension and suffering and difficulty into joy and love by mastering the chaos inside us. It's probably one of the greatest adventures on the earth, learning to master oneself. And then we're no longer victims, we're no longer of all the indiscretions of life. We can transform it into joy, into compassion, into the fact that life becomes our teacher. We need life. We need life to teach us what we need to do to grow inside ourselves. And that's wonderful. And suddenly we're living in a magical world instead of an intimidating world and a threatening world and all the money bullshit and all the relationship stuff and all that stuff. It's no longer intimidating or threatening. It's your teacher, how to grow, how to do all these things without allowing them to take over your life. So, Shisham, it takes time and it takes patience. And it takes
Thank you.
deep commitment in yourself to grow. And I think you have that. From the day I met you at Reed College, I saw something amazing inside you. But it takes time for karma to find its way, Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart, I do, Carrie.
Yes, Carrie.
What guidance do you give to a new student like me about the best way to prepare for open eye class?
Well, the first thing I would tell you is you should start preparing for this about an hour before you come. You do something that relaxes you. I don't take a shower, run around the block, take a walk, go breathe some fresh air. Do something that will relax you inside. And then, when you sit down, I always tell people 5 minutes before the class, stop moving, get your mind quiet. Relax deeply inside. I mean, there are people that come 1 minute before the class starts. They can't be relaxed. They're bringing the day with them. Come 5 minutes before and sit down and relax. Because the deeper you're relaxing yourself, the deeper the meditation is going to be. And the open eye meditation is, look, when I first started doing this, I had never experienced open eye meditation. I didn't understand it, but I did it because it worked. The transmission of Shakti was so powerful. I had never experienced that before. And then, years of doing it allowed me to see why we do this open eye meditation. I mean, we live with our eyes open. We live in the world. Everything drags us out of ourselves. We get angry, we get upset, the politics, the economics, all the misery in life, the suffering, it all drags us out of ourselves. And we have to learn how to be in the world and to be centered at exactly the same time. And that is the key to the open eye meditation. You're in the world and you're centered at the same time. And then you bring this with you into the rest of your life. Don't leave it in the meditation, don't leave it in Zoom. Bring it with you to the rest of your life, being centered, grounded inside, and living. I mean, I've been through the whole spectrum of marriages and businesses, and and the only thing that enabled me to survive was being centered and living. When you live in the world actively, you are working out your karma. We need to work out our karma. We're not born on the earth to become a bunch of people hiding out in some moonlight cave because life threatens us. Understand? So being centered, that's what the open eye meditation is for. And that, I never heard Rudy talk about this, but I'm sure that's why he developed it. It just came to me as a teaching one day. This is why we do this. And, you know, you go anywhere in life, people, you look, I mean, for God's sake, I've been in India 40 times, in my life. I used to go there 3-4 times a year. I had all kinds of stuff to do there, from teaching to, they published my books in Mumbai, and I used to give lectures there. I used to do business there. I mean, I had a whole life there, And one of the most amazing things about being in India, you could not step out of your hotel without being something that was so amazing, seeing something that was so amazing that it dragged you right out. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, and I used to love that, because can I be here and can I allow myself to experience life and do all the things I had to do with the people and situations and stuff I used to see, from the poorest to the richest, I used to interact with when I was there. And I, and it's the same thing, one of the reasons I moved back to New York, and really I had to leave Texas, is I say, if I can do this and master this living in New York City, I can do this and master this living anywhere in the world. I said that to myself. I needed that kind of test, the impossible. And I saw Rudy do it. And I said, if Rudy can do this, then I can go back there and do this and learn and go through whatever grind I had to go through. And boy, there were grinds that I had to go through in order to learn how to build a system that allowed me to live in a place like New York and turn it into something sacred. And just doing those kinds of things, it overcame fear, It overcame having to live in some kind of secure world of protecting myself and not being exposed to life. And then ultimately I learned life is the greatest teacher. Every day, life is teaching us, but we have to be willing to interact with it and not live in, as I said, like womb-like caves that protect us against the world. And that's what the open eye meditation is, how to be here, centered, grounded, and be connected with life. And then the transmission of the Shakti it flows through the teacher, through the eyes, it goes into your system. And that will act as a catalyst to develop the chakra system. That transmission of Shakti goes through the eyes. I hope that's clear, because it's really a very important aspect of the meditation. Look, it's why I have retreats. It's why I have people come here and I do in-person classes, because it's very powerful stuff. I mean, they're starting tomorrow, and there are people coming and they're going to be here for almost 2 weeks. What happened to you? You disappeared, Kerry. Where are you?
Right here.
There you are. No.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyway, I do that because it's much more powerful. I do hands-on healing work and all that, and it's much more powerful. And certainly all of you invited to these things. You're welcome to come. We just have to set up dates. I have a limit of the number of people I can have. I don't have a loft like I had on 4th Avenue, where I can get 100 people sitting in a meditation class, So I have an apartment that's, it's nice, but it's small, Simplifying my life, which I'm very grateful for. This has not been a simple life I've lived. But I'm doing this for 2 weeks. People that certainly live around New York are welcome to inquire about. We have a schedule. Beside the 7 classes I teach online, there's going to be, I think, 6 or 8 classes in person. This week's going to be a very intense week. Take advantage of these things, you know. And I know, as I said the other day, it costs money, but, you know, we all have to someday grow up and invest in things that really give us our life. You know, very important. God bless you all, and thank you. And does anyone else have a question?
I do, Stuart. It's Christine.
Yes, Christine.
Over all the years, you've said that a happy person is an enlightened person.
Yes.
And I have been really happy lately, in spite of back pain, etc. I've been really happy, and I really want to run with that. But at the same time, do I have to surrender it? And how do I do both?
You just have to live with it every day. Keep your
I
heart
want to
open.
run with the happiness, but I have to
Don't
surrender
run
the
with
happiness.
it. Just live with it, you know? You understand, what we try to do is to sustain this moment, and we think this moment is going to be the next moment. And God is telling us every day of our life that each moment is unique and is going to bring different experiences. Our job is to keep our hearts open as we go from moment to moment. That's the work. If you keep your heart open and you go from moment to moment that way, when the negative things start happening, they're not going to take away your joy and happiness. They're not. And they will happen, because if something positive happens, it's just the way the world works. Something negative is going to happen. And our job is not to get wrapped up in positive and negative. It's to keep our heart open no matter what the hell goes on in the world. I mean, you know you're enlightened when you can take the garbage out with your heart open, you know? When you can deal with your relationships, your family, and they're all getting crazy, and you can keep your heart open. Then you know you're arriving at a pretty good place in your life. And that is the way life is teaching you. Are you there? Can you stay open? Can you keep your heart open? Or do you got more work to do on yourself? And keeping your heart open teaches you that you have more work to do on yourself, because that just goes away. The second you stop doing that, focusing on that, it goes away.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So just, you know, work to keep your heart open. And don't worry about being enlightened, because enlightened people don't know they're enlightened. They just live that way every day. They don't. I've said this a billion times. They don't know they're enlightened person. If anybody tells you're enlightened, they're enlightened. Study with me. Just run in the opposite direction. I mean it. Just go in the opposite direction. You know, if anybody is walking with robes on and this and that and pretending there's holier than thou, you know, just be careful, you know? Because enlightened people don't know they're enlightened. They just live that way. Their lives are that way. Compassion, love, happiness. You know, they support many different dimensions of life. You know, and I think this is something we all have to learn.
I'm just grateful for the happiness right now. I'm so grateful.
Good. Sustain it when some negative things start happening. And they will, Christine. I promise you they will. And sustain that happiness, that joy, that love. And then you'll know you're really growing inside yourself. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, this is Jason. I have a question.
Yes, Jason.
Does the Shakti ever move up the front? Could you speak about the directions?
Well, the Shakti will move in two directions. First one is coming in through the top of the head, down through the third eye, throat, heart, through the sex, to the base of the spine and up to the crown. When the Shakti comes back, often it'll move through a channel in the spine that goes down the spine. And that Shakti that moves down the spine, it goes to the base of the spine, into the sexual area, to the third chakra. It brings rebirth with it. It regenerates your entire inner life. It's how children are born. That's how the soul comes, you know. And that's a very high level of development. But once we get the Kundalini really working consciously, that next level begins to work on a person, where the Shakti comes back and it flows down the spine. There's a channel that allows it. And when it moves through the sexual area, a whole rebirth takes place. You know, a whole different level of living takes place inside a human being. So there are two ways the Shakti flows inside. And both of them are cleansing, nurturing, getting rid of the chaos, becoming a child of God, living in the world. You know, really getting to a state of nothingness inside yourself. And that state of nothingness allows one to truly be a channel for energy that's infinite in the universe. We're no longer battling our ego, our minds, our, you know, chaos and craziness. We're just, does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I just have some mundane announcements to make. The first one is that next Sunday is, you know, changing of the clocks. So please, you know, put it on your calendar. You know, so often people will email me an hour later, why isn't there class today? I'm like, oh, stick it on your calendar. You're going to have to get up an hour earlier on Sunday. The class will be at the same time, but sleep-wise, it's an hour earlier. You know, the second thing is that I've been talking about it a lot, and I want to talk about it because, I mean, look, I've been posting these articles I've written, articles, whatever they are, about Tantra, about all kinds of stuff on my website. And I think it's something that people could go to. I mean, Bob Sink has done a really beautiful job of upgrading the website. It's really simple now and clear. And you can go to these things and read them. And there's a great deal of teaching there. I mean, I read one of them that I just wrote today to somebody, and they started to cry, you know, it was very touching. So I would suggest going there. Somehow God has given me with a gift to write, and I really enjoy doing it, and I like to share it with people who are open to receiving it. So if you have time, and you just go and you can read these things, and I think they're very interesting. Other announcement I want to make is that somewhere around the 17th, 18th, for about 7 to 10 days, I'm going to take a vacation. I need a vacation. So I'm going to go away for a week, 10 days, like that. And so there won't be class, you know, that time. But I just need, look, I've been doing this 2.5 years now. And this is really intense work, and it's staring at computers, and, you know, and I need to take some time off without making excuses about it. You know? So there probably won't be class then, you know, that period. But I need to go away and take some time off.
In November?
In November, yeah. Yeah, over Thanksgiving, I'm going to go take some time off. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And I hope, just to finish, you know, that some of you make plans to come up here. You know, I used to travel a lot. A lot of you don't know that. I used to travel once a month and do retreats somewhere in the world. And I just decided that at this point in my life, I can't do that anymore. I really can't. It's just too much. I wound up in a hospital having a major operation, and it probably came from all of that traveling. So but people can come, I don't mean come every week, but, come, find time to come up here and do the work. And I used to have a rule, which I lost a bunch of students because, which was you had to be vaccinated. And I don't care about vaccinations anymore. I do ask people if they come here that they should have a test before they come to my apartment. That takes 15 minutes. And, it's no big deal, and I do it, out of respect for other people. So that's all I ask. So if you want to come, you can get in touch with Jennifer. She will arrange times, for you to come here and to participate in this. And people that make that kind of an effort of coming here from, 3,000 miles away and spending money to stay in hotels and this and that, I respect that very deeply. And I have basically what I do is have a retreat. It's like a retreat. And those of you that attended the retreat that I did at Stony Point, this summer, you know how powerful those things are. They're very strong. They're transformative. So I hope to see people. You can get in touch with Jennifer. She will arrange times when you want to come and so that it's convenient for you and it's convenient for me. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, thank you. God bless you all. You all, my teacher, I bow down to you and I thank you for being here and for, giving me the opportunity to grow. So God bless you all. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. There'll be a class on Wednesday evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Stuart.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.